Wednesday, June 26th for Kelly Scott up in Park City for biweekly maintenance as well as a little planter touch-up. I think there might have actually been some moose damage to the begonias as well as the cold, but there were moose tracks pretty much all the way up to the house, to the front door. But starting with the inner circle, I've got some really nice wildflowers blooming. It's nice purple, the blue flax. Little cone flower type things are going to be popping up next, midsummer. I remember those ones, all orange and red. There was definitely a bit of a cold wave. It kind of hurt a lot of the new growth, especially in the Russian sage. It was looking really rough, all the sweet little new ends. So we kind of gently just peeled them off or crumpled them off. We didn't want to use, the scissors, too aggressive. Being kind of gentle with it and hoping it recovers smoothly, and thoroughly fluffing, weeding out grasses, tree sprouts from the aspen. Got our little yarrow section going really nicely on this side of the circle. I will say there are these insane beetles. I noticed, I think they're preying on like the very, very new little blossoms that have yet to really bloom. They eat them. And I don't really have a treatment for that. So some of the dianthus are taking a hit. And I didn't really want to chop those all off because then the bugs would go to the new blooms. And I'd rather preserve the new blooms that have yet to bloom. So it might be better to just let it run its course and then maybe cut it back in a couple weeks or in a couple more visits. But yeah, all of that's all damage from those beetles. This section's looking really great as well, nicely fluffed. Oops, we're gonna have to sweep over here. But this got deadheaded. All the irises were deadheaded. The alliums look cute in their little pockets. I do want to leave those, but any of them that are sideways we took out. Clovers, grasses, things of the sort. The peony is just starting to bloom today. Really nice to see that. There are some morning glory that we got out from this area, and pieces of grass, nicely fluffed, and some cute wildflowers blooming as well in this area. And up front with the planters, we replaced some of the begonia on this side. That was the big gap. Now we have some nice bright color. Really took out all the crispy bits from everywhere that had damage. And did a little swapperoo, some replacements. They look much more fresh, and I think they're going to do pretty well. Just keep an eye on them. Jasmine's not doing too bad. It is a little bit more yellow than I like to see, but we took out all of the brown leaves and thoroughly watered them. And here's a view from the porch area of the fluffed soil, nicely weeded. And then these planters also had some crispy bits that were removed. The lantana was took a hit, and parts of the canna lily got snipped off. And then we added in some white geranium and the begonias in the back, and they look really, really good. I'm loving them. They are super cool, very full, nice cool color palette. Over here too. Pretty sweet. I noticed some new plantings over there. I think we're going for a mounding geranium. I think that's what that is. So I watered that as well. Love this whole area. I gave it a good water, weeded, fluffed for debris. And there's a nice view of the backside of the property. And then walking around, all of this is so nicely swept. This is where it gets pretty weedy, where we started to really dive into it over in this area. Nice to see blooms on this, really, really cool. But swept all this out, weeded through the rock wall. Our transplants are doing just fine from last time. It's big trees. The soil pep looks pretty great. And there's a view of a little garden bed down there. They got thoroughly fluffed and weeded. Not too much pruning today, mostly weeding and letting things grow and being really, really clean with it all. Like hosing down areas that we had to hose down, getting weeds from between those bits, weeding and really sweeping it up. And there we go. The moose garden kind of defined the edge a little bit better where the grass was growing in, especially right here. Russian sage just not doing too well. None of these plants are really doing too well, but I think it'll make a difference once we put that other apple tree in here. Over yonder, we watered this area today because I know it's fresh planted from last year and it looks really good, and keeping good care of it. Also fluffed it nicely. These are the new bougainvillea vines that we kind of staked up and wrapped with, Velcro in certain areas so it's not totally flopping over. And then did our best to recover what was remaining of the geraniums and also adding in more of the deep rose and a little bit of white geranium going in there too. These guys got thoroughly watered and we diverted the irrigation per Kelly's request because it was overwatering and she's just going to water by hand. This got nicely weeded. There were thistle and grasses growing in here. Also very well blown out. Even the patio furniture. And this was a concern that we addressed. The hollyhock was really tilted over. The wind had done a lot of damage. She had removed some bits already. I removed what I saw as damaged. And then we staked it, and hopefully you can't really see the stake. It's kind of hiding. And used Velcro, and now it's more upright. Feels more natural. Some of the tops are a little curvy-wurvy. And I'm not sure what that's from, but the leaves still look healthy. It doesn't look like it's broken. It's just not like super upright. So we'll keep an eye on that for next time. But this whole bed is quite lovely. There's a little weeding done, little butterflies on it. Fresh soil pep from last time. But this is, it's still holding up. Just a little bit curved and more upright. So many flowers in there I didn't want to sacrifice. Hopefully they bloom. And down here, the honeysuckle, it's popping. It's so beautiful. So we got the Velcro and tied more of it upright. A little bit was chomped and pulled down right, but most of it we got back up. Whole property hit today, even the end of the driveway, which got weeded, raked, and fluffed. The soil pep on this upper level got fluffed through. These little flower beds look just fine, but fluffed through. There were a couple dead pieces right here and right here. I think 2 very dead. Potentially also Russian sage. I'm not exactly sure what they were. They absolutely were not coming back, so I just removed them. And they were around the size of my hand with some really thick stems and only this big, very woody. Pretty certain they were Russian sage. Really just didn't come back full force this year. And not sure why, but over here we have been removing the dead of it and it's looking great, all this new growth. Got like this big cluster, but we're keeping the little sprouts from growing, so it's just these big chunks, and then nicely fluffed and raked over here, little sections of yarrow, and the grass is removed. Oh, there's my water bottle. All of this was blown off, and then the steps looking great. Grass is removed, soil fluffed, grass is removed from along the edge. And then we even got into the veggie garden and remembered to weed that area for her as well. So that's all clear by the pathway. The pathway around and around, nice and ready in case she does anything there. Driveway's nice and clean. So yeah, we did some updates and doctoring to the planters, and are monitoring anything that was damaged from any storms recently. And thank you very much.